In this video, I'm going to show you how to add and use a trigger channel in CC Lab. In this example, I'm using a 24-volt launcher. I'll be launching this shoe, but if the device you're using is not compatible with 24 volts, you'll want to watch the video that I'm linking below, which is how to use relays. You can still do everything that I'm going to show you here in this video. You just need to add that relay in there. So let's go ahead and jump right into CC Lab. So I'm going to show you first how to add that trigger channel. All you do is you click on channels, add new channel, trigger, and I am on DO1. So I'm going to add that. So the way I've got my device hooked up, I've got just two wires. One's going right into my DO1. That's my positive side. And then my negative side, I've got in the COM hole right beneath the DO1. So pretty simple connection there when you have a 24-volt device. Okay, so I've got my channel added. It comes in as, you can click on that. You can call it whatever you want. And now you're ready to actually put some keyframes in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and click Add Keyframe. And it adds one right at the beginning. So that means when I start the program, it's going to be an off state. Now, the device that I'm using here is a little different than most devices you'll use, where in order to trigger it, I actually need to go from on to off. I think most devices will be the opposite, where you go from off to on. This one's opposite. I'll go ahead and show you both. But when I'm using it, it's going to go from on to off. So what I need to do then is change this keyframe to be on. So it starts in the on state. Now at the same time as this other keyframe, I'm going to add another keyframe in my launch channel. So what that does, that gives my on to off, on to off change, so which will trigger the solenoid and launch the shoe. So that really is all I would need to run this program, but I want to show you a couple other things here. So if I tap on that keyframe, there's a couple of different types of trigger keyframes. There's change, which what that does is, all it does is toggle the state. So if it's off, it's going to go to on. If it's on, it's going to go to off. And then there's single pulse. And what that does is, depending on what state you're in, it's going to trigger to the other state for a specified amount of time. In this case, I'm just going to put a quarter second, and then it's going to go right back. So if we look at that, it starts on, it goes off for a quarter second, and then right back to on. And I kind of like that. That's going to make it really easy for me to reset. Now, I'll show you the same thing if you were to use a device that has the opposite logic, so going from off to on. So I'll just go ahead and add another keyframe here. All right, say we're starting on this off keyframe, and I want to add one that goes on. So now I'll say I want that to be on, right? Or if I wanted a single pulse, I can add that as well. Just give it a pulse width of 1 second, for example. So now it goes from off to on and back off at the end of the program. So there's how you would do that. Same exact thing, just opposite. So now I'm ready to run it. I'm just going to do a quick test, and just to tell you what is going to happen here. I'm starting here at this position. I'm doing a little parallax across as the shoe hits its peak. This is something that you might do at a high frame rate, of course. I don't have a fancy camera on there, but this will be a good example for you to see. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. Of course, we want to be in T1, or excuse me, T2. So I'm going to switch to T2. I'm going to run my program as I always do, say continue. And now all I do, I'm going to hit start, step out of the way. And then if I want to go backwards, I'll go backwards nice and slow just to reset. And there we go. So there is a really quick example of how to trigger a device and how to use that trigger feature in CC Lab.